quote something spooky or something?
I don't know. Do you know anything spooky to quote?
Sure, I could say something like I could like quote Vincent Price from Thriller. Does that count?
Sure.
Give me a second. I had it in my head, and now it's out of my head. Oh, right. Nope. Nope. Okay, ready? Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand, and creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize y'all's neighbor.
Woo!
Oh, that's wrong. Why did that get moved down? That needs to be on top. Technical difficulty. There we go. Now everything's filtered properly. I had the filter almost near the bottom of my sources.
Oh my goodness. That doesn't sound very filtery.
No. The only thing would have been filtered would have been the game itself, and that doesn't work at all.
We'll be starting soon, apparently. I wonder if anybody's actually going to show up. I hope people show up.
I was telling one of my friends that honestly, it really does not matter to me all that much. Just being able to do this with you is plenty enough for me.
Oh, of course.
That's not even like meant to be stroke Calf's ego or be ironic. I just actually enjoy doing this.
I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy doing it.
I don't believe you. Does that mean I don't have to bring the gun?
The what?
The gun that I put to your head to make you do this every year.
That's right. I didn't know you were putting a gun to my head.
Oh.
Morin, I'm not sure we can be friends anymore.
Oh.
You've been secretly putting guns to my head. This is awkward.
Oh. Well, I just wanted to get your attention and didn't know any other way.
It's not like I like you or anything, Morin.
How many different ways can we reference everything? I'm actually on the verge of making Undertale references punishable in my stream because people keep coming in and saying things about Undertale. The whole point of that game is to play it for yourself and not have it spoiled.
Right.
So, I don't know what to do with that because even I can't help it once I get started.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Oh, it doesn't help that when I don't have somebody to talk to, I just use Undertale music to fill this particular time void.
Where did the... Oh, Okotron is your bot. You don't have Moobot.
No, I have Okotron. He says things like, oh, did you know I had to add a second way to say your thing?
No.
Somebody mistyped it, so I had to do this.
Caps. Great.
Now it's shouting at me.
Great.
I just realized it's been so long since you've been around that you didn't get to see that develop.
No, I didn't. Caps.
Well, somebody typed it. They thought they were typing your name, and they failed. So I'm like,
my name gets... You know, you wouldn't think that CAF is that hard. C-A-P-H. Very simple. I never see C-A-F. Nobody ever makes that mistake. Instead, I get, Cap, like I'm Captain America or something. No, I don't get Cap. or Ceph, C-E-P-H.
I should do this with it. I'm just going to type it in chat because I'm having fun with my own chat now. Hello, little brother.
Huh? It's a person. Hello.
That is my younger brother under an assumed name. So that's what calf with a C-A-L-F would be.
Right.
Just come up with a million different permutations of exclamation point calf.
That could be interesting, I guess.
All right, well, let's turn that off and get
I wonder
started.
if you could have the bot detect certain kinds of references and then have it kick people from the stream or something.
Have it auto try to do some sort of ban filter?
Yeah, probably not. Too much work.
That would be cool. That way if somebody piped in and said something like, you're going to have a bad time, banned.
Get dunked on, banned.
Banned. Alright, well, I should probably get the game going and start reading scary stories.
I do see the game going, maybe.
Well, the game
maybe
itself
I just see a
going.
rotating splash stream.
It's the title screen. Should I explain what we do every year? I mean, it's written right there, but...
I mean, you've got a paragraph or a sentence or so there, but why don't you explain it for the new viewers who don't know and might be watching this later in the future?
They might. You know, I'm probably going to end up highlighting this whole thing and throwing it on YouTube. But, okay. So every Halloween, I find a bunch of scary stories on the internet. I call them scary stories in giant finger quotes because they're from the Creepypasta Wiki for the most part. And then I read them, and sometimes Calf reads them, and we always make fun of them. My first...
Sorry.
My first time I actually had Hooves in here instead of Calf, and as much as I like Hooves, I think Calf is an upgrade. Anyway, we should get started.
Flattering. 2 viewers now.
Oh my goodness. Hey look, it's a mouse cursor.
Oh, one of them is me.
Oh, foiled again.
Oh.
Well, let's get this gameplay thing started. Length, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 5.10 seconds.
So we have 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 5.10 seconds to get through all of these stories.
Yes, we do. So... did that actually... there we go. Replay started! Yay!
Yay!
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead
But suddenly, the replay was full of blood.
Oh my god! Alright, so let's get started with the first story of the evening, called True Power.
Every time I've seen the title of this story, I want to make a Yomi reference with True Power of Storms.
Personally,
but I don't...
Go ahead.
But I don't think enough of the audience would get it.
Well, every time I see it, I just think they've reached the 8th level in Dungeons & Dragons.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I mean, it's a very generic title.
I mean, that's when you get to learn the true power and get to cast spells for real, right? That's what Jack Chick taught me.
The Chick Tract references. We're starting off with really good writing.
Well, I mean, even a Chick Tract would be an upgrade. Anyway.
That's harsh, Morin.
I've stopped being able to count how many days that it's been since it happened. I love that. Just out of the gate, sentence fragment. Why is my game not making sound? Did I turn the sound on and completely off? I mean, that's great and everything, but I want people to be able to hear Castlevania music.
Hearing Castlevania music would be nice.
There we go. Anyway.
Not that I have the stream sound on anyway, because I don't want to hear an echo of us.
Good strategy. I've always been a huge fan of Metal Gear Solid. A lot of people would say that makes me an idiot, since Kojima's writing pisses people off and that's somehow my fault. They're my favorite because my older brother used to play them when they first came out, and he let me watch. And I've always wanted to be like him. He's dead now. I guess I'm gonna fulfill my dream. Wait, what? Is that supposed to be a hook?
I don't know. I'm still trying to parse that really long sentence with the comma splice and the inappropriate semicolon.
Yeah, but it's like, is he trying to tell me he's going to commit suicide a paragraph into his stupid story?
You know, as far as horror hooks go, that's probably one of the worst.
At least it's not going... Aw, thank you, brother of mine.
I wonder if I could get my brother to join us.
Possibly. You know, I hadn't read this for a while. I was kind of saving my quips and just letting myself be surprised. I forgot this sentence. One day, when I got out of school a few hours early because of a fire in the cafeteria kitchens, I went to my local pawn shop, which sometimes carries the odd gem. So... I like that immediately, that the excuse for an out day is a fire in the cafeteria kitchens.
Yeah, you know, at least he's got that little bit of added detail there, but really a fire in the cafeteria kitchens?
I didn't think they cooked things enough to cause a fire in school cafeteria kitchens.
Hey, you know, when I was in college, somebody set off the fire alarm trying to boil water.
Yeah, but okay, maybe
So-
he's in college, I guess.
Maybe, but probably not. I mean, this kind of writing is probably a high school student.
School was going to be over soon. Well, yeah, if there's a cafeteria fire. And I'd been saving up my money to get something to treat myself with recently.
So what's the relevance of his having left school early? Is that important?
Maybe it's a Chekhov's
It's not.
gun? Oh.
It's not.
Recently, someone had sold their boxed copy of Subsistence, the special edition of Metal Gear Solid 3. It's almost a collector's piece at this point when it has the shrink wrap still on, so I don't know why someone decided to pawn it off at our local junk shop. Junk shop? I thought it was a pawn shop.
I mean, they are the same thing, right? I mean, pawn shops only buy junk. That's what pawn shops do, isn't it?
Apparently.
You know, it's not like a simple Google search could clarify this or something.
And it's certainly not like some pawn shops specialize in high-end history pieces or things like that, or museum pieces that are sold.
Hey now, boxed copy of Subsistence is a high-end history piece, I'm sure.
Okay, then what's it doing in a junk shop? Oh. Oh! However, it was being sold for the cheaps, and I wasn't going to just let it pass me by.
The cheaps.
The cheaps. I got home and tried to open the box. It was strangely dusty, but I popped the disc into the console and Did he skip a few steps?
Yeah, you know, he tried to open the box, and succeeded is implicit.
Does it just pop open, disc go flying out of the case and right into the system?
Apparently. You know, that's a talent. Are you telling me that you can't just pop open boxes and have the disc go flying into the console disc tray?
If I could do that, I would have more YouTube videos of me doing that. Some of the dust got inside my eyes and then also into my mouth. Now that's unnecessary.
Gross.
That is, yeah.
That's just gross.
At least it's not blood.
You know, I kind of just assumed it was like powdered bones or something to try to make this a little bit spookier.
Yeah, that didn't help.
No.
When I turned the console on, I was greeted by the Konami logo from Metal Gear Solid 1. Strange, because Konami Games stopped using the Police Knots jingle by the time that Subsistence was released. Okay. Why aren't they just using that one song from Gradius while they're at it? I mean, if we're gonna just go, hey, I know obscure Konami games, we're just gonna use the main theme from Parodius.
Oh, I don't know obscure Konami games.
Well, then I should continue.
You should continue.
The game opened to the save menu, and the only file there had a picture of Psycho Mantis. Alright, I gotta stop it here, because I need to immediately call out massive plot hole. Metal Gear Solids 2 and 3, i.e., and their re-releases were on the PlayStation 2. Okay?
Sure.
So, if the game opened to the save menu, that's fine and everything, but PlayStation 2 ran on memory cards. So
It definitely did.
the only way this works is if his save file was there on his memory card before popping the system or the game in the system.
Or somehow the disc magically spread some data onto his memory card.
Is that how it, when it flew into the console, was that a side effect?
It must have been. That's the only explanation. You know, it was flying so hard it created some electronic interference and corrupted data on his memory card. That's now canon for this story.
I've, in real life, seen worse excuses for corrupted save data on a PS2, so sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about some of them, so I won't. Out of morbid curiosity, I opened the save. Psycho Mantis was breaking the fourth wall as per usual.
Oh, that was a quick jump.
Still, I wasn't sure what he was doing in a copy of Subsistence. By all rights, he shouldn't have even been born yet. And I wasn't sure how exactly I hacked MGS3/MGS disk and got into a sealed subsistence box.
So, okay, I want to call a couple of things out here.
Sure.
One is the terrible writing. Actually, they're all terrible. The terrible writing. So the first is the morbid curiosity he opened to save. That's like the worst horror trope ever.
Right?
That, you know, your character has no better reason to do something terrible than morbid curiosity. Sure. The second is Psycho Mantis was breaking the fourth wall as per usual is possibly the worst case of telling instead of showing I have ever seen.
Granted.
Those were the things I wanted to call out.
Sure, I'm going to elaborate on that because Psycho Mantis... Have you played MGS1?
I have not. I played a demo of it a little bit.
Okay, Psycho Mantis, as you might have guessed, is a boss there, and what he does is he does things like read your memory card, and if you have a DualShock controller and you set it on the ground, the game will vibrate as if Psycho Mantis is doing it, things like that.
Yep.
So,
yes, and you need to switch which controller port you're plugged into so he can't read your mind in order to beat him.
Yeah, it's actually some pretty cool stuff for Kojima.
Yeah, it's pretty neat stuff.
But just to say, oh, he broke the fourth wall. You're right. There's so many better ways they could have done that.
It's so weak.
And I want to call out, you do realize, narrator, that shrink wrapping exists, right? You can just buy a shrink wrap machine.
Yeah.
Just gonna put that out there.
Well, I mean, we've already established that this is a high school student who doesn't know the difference between a pawn shop and a junk shop, so why would he know that a shrink wrap machine exists?
That's fair, but still. Once Mantis began to speak, he wheezed in his characteristic way as he floated in his office. This isn't a trick, you know. It's real power. Jeez, everyone and their mom had heard of a DualShock, right? Is he slamming Psycho Mantis?
He might be, I guess. He also missed the opportunity to title drop.
Right? I wanted to say roll credits, but I couldn't. What a jerk. Except, he didn't just ask me to set down my controller. He also asked me to stand up straight. I did, because what the hell, right? There's no harm in doing silly shit for a video game when no one's around to see you looking like a dumb asshole. I question that, narrator.
Oh yeah, absolutely there's harm in doing that. You might pull a muscle and hurt yourself.
Absolutely. Especially if, you know, when you start getting a little older, you know, you stand up too fast, your calf pops out of alignment, and oh, it's bad times.
You know, it's not like we're playing with a Kinect here.
Or a Wii Fit balance board, although why not at this point?
Hey, you could play Metal Gear with a Wii Fit balance board. That sounds like a great experience.
Sure.
No, it doesn't.
No. I was standing there in my living room when suddenly my arm jerked up of its own accord, like someone had tied a rope to my wrist and had yanked it. I could feel my shoulder pop and I had to bite my lip to not cry.
So, that's arguably the worst metaphor I've ever heard.
And you've read Little Old Private Eye. My brother knows that story, so don't worry. Oh, wow.
You know, his arm jerked up like somebody had tied a rope around his wrist and pulled. First of all, I mean, it's not a terrible metaphor because it does create a very vivid image, but it probably creates a very inaccurate image.
Yeah, was the guy on a ladder?
Maybe.
Because if somebody's like way up high or on a second floor balcony and manages to lasso your wrist and pull, then sure, but...
Maybe Psycho Mantis is in the ceiling. Psycho Mantis is actually ceiling cat.
Psycho Mantis is watching you jerk your arm up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go with that.
You see, my psychokinetic powers are able... Sorry, this is a terrible Doug Stone. Are able to work, even though I'm not physically present to control you. I have no hands to move you with. Is that a Katawa Shoujo reference?
I don't know. Does Psycho Mantis have limbs?
He apparently has no hands to move you with.
Like, I'm gonna go get a picture of Psycho Mantis and see if this is accurate.
Please do. I'll continue reading. But you aren't the one moving your right arm. And now your left. He flicked his right hand up towards the top of the screen, and my wrist rose violently to meet the other one.
Psycho Mantis clearly has hands.
Yes, he does. I wanted you to Google it.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Letting me discover these things for myself is why we're friends.
Right, otherwise I'd be spoilering things for you, and you don't want spoilers in your day.
Of course not, especially not for an old game like that.
Hey, if you never played it, spoiler's still a spoiler.
So I presume that the author then meant that for Psycho Mantis to be implying that he had no physical hands to move the narrator with.
Basically, yes. He's trying to say that he's not actually in the room, he's over this screen.
Right.
But he wrote it absolutely terribly.
Which isn't really a surprise. If he hadn't wrote it terribly, we wouldn't be reading it right now.
It probably wouldn't be here. Now, touch your toes. Okay.
Oh, the horror!
Oh, yeah, this next sentence is the true horror. I want to give this guy the finger from a distance. Maybe he'll feel it for Psycho Mantis. The cruel fact about being a nerd is that even though I'm not that old, I don't have good flexibility in my muscles.
Hey, I can touch my toes without bending my knees.
I can't, but I was in a car accident a long time ago.
That's a fair excuse.
My back has been screwed up since I was about 15 years old, so...
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, Morn.
It's fine. I mean, I still have a lot of bend, I just can't, completely bend over like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's he got here? He's insulting his audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, oh, yeah, no one thank you. I couldn't help but cry at that point, as my hand reached just below my knees to where it felt like the back of my thighs were on fire, but then kept reaching. Okay, you couldn't help but cry? Now, we just established that I have a bad back and I can't bend properly. That doesn't stop me from trying, because I do need to, over time, rebuild flexibility, right?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's clearly a wuss.
I was gonna say, it hurts like hell to try to touch my toes, but I don't cry!
I mean, he almost cried when his arm was pulled up, too. And it's not like it was even pulled out of the socket or something.
I know.
So, here's a better one, though. I do a fair bit of stretching, which is one of the reasons I can touch my toes.
Sure.
And the first place you feel the burn when you try to do that is not the backs of your thighs.
No, it's your spine.
Right. It's going to be your spine or the backs of your knees. So the author clearly couldn't even be bothered to get up and bend over and stretch to see where he would feel it first.
Wow, that didn't even occur to me. This is why you're here, Cap.
So he can't even do the Google research on the pawn shop and junk shop.
And he can't even bother to stand the hell up. Wow.
I think maybe the bit about being an inflexible nerd was perhaps more true than we realized.
It must have been. Although a true nerd would have looked it up. That's no true Scotsman, this.
Sure. No true nerds, man.
Tell it like it is, bro. The point of this isn't to be a personal fitness regiment, of course. Mantis seemed to be amused. Yeah, regiment. It's an army troop.
Regiment. Yeah.
Mantis
an entire regiment of fitness coaches telling him to bend over and stretch.
Uninflexible. He got you. Anyway, Mantis seemed to be amused by my attempts to stand up again. However, my muscles seemed to lock up whenever I tried. The point is that you're now under my control, and nothing more than a pathetic puppet. Now, what am I going to do with my new toy? I hope that came across. I may have dropped underneath my own voice modulation.
No, it definitely transmitted.
I mean, over the stream.
Oh.
I have a noise filter because of background things.
Trains.
Not even the trains, more subtle things than that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Let me read into your mind. He paused thoughtfully and seemed to strike on something. My mind was filled with the image of the pistol my mother kept in her bedside drawer. Wait, really? Really? That's the first... Oh, wait, I misread that. Yeah, okay. That's stupid, but fine. Mantis is the one pulling the image out. Okay.
Right. And we just learned that the narrator's author does not practice good gun safety.
No. I'd seen it once, but
Narrator's author. Narrator's mother. Sorry.
Yes.
Before your brother calls me out again. How does he pronounce his name, by the way? Because I keep wanting to read that as Commander Arnold.
Apparently that name was chosen at random by Twitch for him.
Awesome.
So...
Commander Arnold it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's actually an EDH for Magic the Gathering, but...
Huh.
Oh, God, a tense agreement problem. I'd seen it once, but I've always been afraid to ask her why she has it. Had it. Oh, God. It's still so hard to think of her as... What? Calf? I'm having a hard time parsing this. I'm gonna read it, but...
It's still so hard to think of her as dead.
It's
not that hard to read.
No, I was just read the whole sentence and I can't parse it in my brain, but I'll read it, it's fine. It's still so hard to think of her is dead, even though I had to drag her out of the computer room myself so that she wouldn't be staring at me as I typed. Wait! Is his mother dead? And taxidermied?
Well, so... I mean, I could answer your question, but it's going to spoil the ending, so why don't we come back to that?
Okay. It's been a while since I read this. I
read it just this afternoon, in fact.
Good job. But I just can't stand the judgment. Good. You know what to do, don't you? You've played video games, right? Like Call of Duty. Oh no. He crossed his arms as I opened my mouth to speak. That's your brother's, isn't it? Well, you've seen him play. It's easy.
So this is a common problem in this story, is the very, very vague references. What's his brother's? Call of Duty? Are we supposed to understand that the narrator hasn't played Call of Duty because it's his brother's?
But he wanted to be just like his brother.
Right. You'll see.
Okay. Point? He pointed at the television screen that separated us. And shoot! He fired the imaginary gun, and my legs were seized with a compulsion to walk. Oh, God! My brother was homesick that day. Well, that's what he'd told our mom. But really, he had gotten behind for a school assignment and had stayed home to finish reading The Catcher in the Rye and write a paper.
Gotten behind for a school assignment?
But, really? You're having trouble with The Catcher in the Rye?
I have to admit, I've never read The Catcher in the Rye. It was never assigned.
It's pretty good.
I can't imagine it's that hard if it's a high school assignment.
It's a reasonably good story. I'd recommend watching the Thug Notes on it, though. By the way, apparently my stream is now sponsored by Wisecrack, makers of Thug Notes.
Oops.
Maybe if he'd been less lazy, he wouldn't be dead. I needed to take a minute after I typed that. Thanks for that. I just read that in the chat.
Yeah, so if your brother's wearing your skin, what are you wearing?
Oh, he gave it back. It's fine.
Oh, okay. As long as you're not a spooky skeleton. Hey, Morn, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing my Sans costume, apparently.
No, Morn, no Undertale references. Bad Morn.
Anyway, I need to go back and read this couple of sentences again. Maybe if he'd been less lazy, he wouldn't be dead. I needed to take a minute after I typed that. I wasn't sure if it was me or him that did, but I feel like I'm going to throw up. Wait. The story's making less sense as we go. And yes,
me or him that did what?
I don't know, but the story's making even less sense. God, I can't talk either. Words are hard.
We don't words good. That's our tagline.
My parents both worked in the same workplace, and they drove to and from work together. He hasn't... Did he just step out of the story?
Yes, he does that repeatedly, in fact.
Oh, this is freaking horrible.
And he does it mid-paragraph without any indication. That was part of the confusion earlier.
Okay, so he's jumping back and forth in and out of this narrative?
He's telling two stories simultaneously. It's the author telling a story and the narrator telling a story.
Oh god, if you're going to do that, and I'm not going to say you should because you shouldn't, you need to make your separations clearer.
You know, you can do an interleaved story with where you've got a character telling the story, and then the character is making interjections outside of the story they're telling to their audience. But you need to make it clear when that's happening. You don't just put it in the narrative text, just mixed in with everything else. Then you confuse your reader, and you get somebody like Morn going, about your story.
Thank you for pointing that out.
And you don't want that.
True. It's very true. Oh, I'm having I can hear my game, doing technical things. That's awesome. At least I'm not dropping frames. Anyway. Okay, since we're outside of the narrative, let's keep going. My parents both worked in the same workplace, and they drove to and from work together. He hasn't let me clean the blood off my hands. The keyboard has stopped being sticky, at least. It feels like it's covered in dry, tacky dust. I know if I look down, it'll just be a smear of rust crusted on. I don't want to. He made me, just now. It was...
So many unreferenced pronouns.
Bro, it's a confusing mess of confusion. We'll get there. Let's keep going.
Look, we don't read good stories on Halloween. That wouldn't be sufficiently horrifying.
Exactly. He actually knows what's up. He's heard me read a couple of these before. After he made me do what I did. Okay, so we're back in the narrative now?
Yep.
He set me down to speak one last time. Our little experiment is over. I've collected the psychometric nanomachine data the Patriots needed.
Buzzwords, 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 buzzwords.
Right. First of all, shouldn't he be saying lolly-lulelo? Anyway. He looked at his gloved hands. Hey, Paradoxical, what's up? He looked at his gloved hands, pretending to examine his nails.
No, wait, remember, Psycho Mantis didn't have hands.
Right, he said so.
Yeah.
So, more plot holes. But now is where the fun part starts. I wonder, will the guilt eat you alive? No question mark. You still have a few rounds left in that gun, you know. I'm going to die in a few days anyway. Whenever I try to turn the faucet on, I can't put my hands in the water and can't dip my head in the stream to drink. I can't even walk into the kitchen. There's only one thing that I think you'd let me eat, but I'm not going to eat them. I refuse to be a monster, even if he made me one. I'm not sure if I can stand to die of thirst, though. My throat hurts so much. I've heard that, in the shade, a human being can last a whole 7 days without water. 7 days! Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Morin.
I don't want to find out if that's true. Why haven't the neighbors come to check on me? Didn't anyone hear the gunshots? If you're reading this, please, come to the address below. I don't know if you'll be able to make it in time. I don't know if I'm strong enough. Right? Paradoxical knows what's up. This Word
I mean,
document...
everything Morin says is a sexual metaphor.
Right.
Because it's coming out of Morin's mouth.
Absolutely. This Word document was discovered at the scene of a grim murder-suicide, providing an unfortunate context to the bloody scene. While it sounds like the ramblings of someone unable to accept their actions, I was struck enough by the mention of the Patriots to make a copy of the file and post it here. It feels almost wrong to be posting it, even as the boys and girls in the lab are processing the evidence in the file. Still, the longer I keep the file on my computer instead of out on the web, the more I worry someone will discover I stole evidence. Okay. Okay.
Scene. End.
Yes. End. Okay.
Such a solid ending.
So, we've got 3 levels of bullshit, or reality here.
Right.
We have, apparently a detective on this, investigating this, having posted this Word document, right?
Right.
On the
That's the framing device that you don't even discover until you get to the end, because there's no mention at the beginning.
And then, within the narrative, he's writing his story while commenting on his story. I mean, I guess when you're supposed to be terrified and you're being made to type it by Psycho Mantis or whatever, sure.
Right. So the character, so that's the conceit here, is that the character is sitting at his computer typing up a story with commentary after Psycho Mantis forced him to kill his family.
Right, and he apparently managed to get enough control to drag his mother out of his mother's corpse out of the room.
Right.
Even though he's clearly under no of his own control. This is crap.
Well, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have picked it if it wasn't.
Yeah, but, like, there's a lot of goodly Reddit.
That goodly Reddit. You're doing,
He's doing NaNoWriMo, yeah.
Nano? Yeah. Good luck.
I told him he doesn't have to worry about quality until after it's over.
Right. I mean, that's the whole idea behind Nano, isn't it? Is you don't worry about quality.
You just get your
If in doubt,
50,000
ninjas
words.
attack.
Right. That's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah.
Where am I in the story?
Not-
How far have we gotten? 37 minutes? Good, we have time. Alright. Do you have anything you want to say to sum this one up, or should we move on to the next
You know,
one?
I don't know if there is anything to say to sum this one up. It's
It's a
terrible.
mess. Like,
It's
even for what the stuff I choose to read, it's a mess.
it's poorly organized, poorly laid out. It skips and glosses over all the important things that could have actually added drama and made you care about the character.
10 out of 10?
Yeah, absolutely. 10 out of 10. Best thing I've read all week.
Like, I had... Last year, one of the stories I'm pretty sure I had said was the worst thing I had ever written. Or read. One of the stories I
I
read.
don't think we did anything you wrote last year.
No, the Mario RPG one I think I'd said was the worst thing I'd ever read. It's been beaten.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is possibly the worst thing I've ever read, and I've read a lot of really bad things.
Well, speaking of bad, let's move on to the next.
Thank you for inflicting this on me, Morn.
Anytime. Oh, my system's slagging while I load up the next one.
Oh boy.
Because I closed the window and I had to reopen it. Wow, that is really bad.
What were we doing next? Blood slime?
Blood slime!
Blood slime.
As soon as I can find it. Alright.
Do you need a link?
Nope, I got it. I just had to go digging for it real quick. But actually, real quick, I'm going to load up the third one in the other tab. Just have it ready too.
That's a good idea.
Alright. So, blood slime.
Blood slime. It's so bad that it was buried and Morn just had to go digging for it to dig it up.
Yep, with a shovel. Alright. Alright.
Shovel Knight. That was a funny joke, Morn.
That's why people keep coming back to my stream.
I thought it was because you got hit all the time.
That too. Okay, here we go. Blood Slime. One of my favorite games while growing up was Dragon Warrior. But after my last encounter with it, I would never look at it the same way again. Why do they do that every time?
Is that some tense disagreement there?
It might be.
I don't know. It's pretty weird. After my last encounter with it, I would never look at it the same way again.
It's written awkwardly anyway.
Since my last encounter with it, I will never look at it the same way again.
I don't know. These people don't know
Who
how to
wrote
write.
this track?
I don't know. It's not listed. It all started when my dad and I went to a rummage sale together. He wanted to look at the old vinyl records, but I was drawn to the NES games they had. I looked through their selection and was mostly disappointed. Robo Warrior, Legacy of the Wizard, Dick Tracy, all trash. Hey, I liked Robo Warrior!
You know, I don't think I've ever played any of those. I didn't really do much on the old NES.
Legacy of the Wizard was garbage. I did a whole stream about it being garbage once. Dick Tracy's famously bad. Robo Warrior's okay. I mean... But then I saw something different. Something that, at the time, I found exciting.
Of course.
The proper label for this card had worn away, but someone had written Dragon Warrior in black permanent marker on some paper which they glued over where the label had been.
Because that won't interfere with the system operation. Oh no, wait, NES cartridges weren't inserted. They just stuck out of the top, that's right.
It depended on your NES. There were two versions of it.
Alright, well, my NES didn't have an internal cartridge drive.
You had the NES2, which was like a Super Nintendo top loader.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was actually great. I never had one.
Well, you should have. It was great.
This was great. My previous copy had found its way to a landfill and was gone for... Why would you throw out Dragon Warrior? That game's awesome.
Better yet, why would you throw out your game at all? You could sell it in a rummage sale.
Right?
You just can glue some random paper label on it and call it whatever you want.
I should have been concerned that the case was one of those odd-shaped Tengen-style cases and that it had no price tag. But I was too excited by the prospect of playing one of my favorite games and ignored all of this. Well, first of all, you're an idiot.
And you trusted the paper label.
And... did we really need the Tengen detail? I mean, you could have said anything.
What's a Tengen-style case?
Tengen was an Atari brand. Off-brand, they made a bunch of unlicensed games for Nintendo. Because NES's seal of quality was such that they only allowed, like, I think, 8 games made under a label every year.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the seal of quality.
Konami actually made games under the Ultra label to get around that. A lot of companies did. Atari just used Tengen and said, forget it, we're just going to release unlicensed games.
Oh, you know.
They also did a version of Tetris, but we're getting away from the story.
Story? Meh. Let's talk about video game history instead.
Sure, why not?
No, we'll go back to the story.
I took the game to the lady running the sale. How much do you want for this? I asked her. I've never seen that before, she said. I don't even think that belongs to us. So, 50 cents. Wow.
Hey, you know, points to the author of this one for putting dialogue in quotes.
Yeah, so many stories I've seen don't. But really? What a bitch.
You know, it's not mine, so, you know, just a little money. Discount since it's stolen goods.
Right? Just like a junk shop. Or pawn shop, whatever. I just happened to have 2 quarters in my pocket, so I paid her for the game and took it home. My dad bought a copy of the Rolling Stones' Dirty Work for his record player, so we were both winners. That was unnecessary. While he went to go...
Is that a dig on the Rolling Stones? I don't know if I don't know their works by, like, album title.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll come up in the story or something. While he went to go listen to his new acquisition, I ran the cleaning cartridge through my NES to make sure the old base was up to the task. After ensuring that both the connector in the system and the cartridge were as clean as could be, I inserted the game and powered on the system. Black screen. Calf is not me. I'm the one reading. I'm Morn. Hey, Redless, how are you?
I'm Cafriel, and this is my buddy Morn.
Yes, here on twitch.tv/MrCaf. I shut the system off, removed the game, blew in it, reinserted it, and turned the system back on. That's a lot of detail, dude. Massive pixels, then black screen. I hit the reset button.
You have to at least give this guy points for historical accuracy. He's clearly owned an NES.
Right? I hit the reset button. Black screen, but I could hear a few notes of the overture theme before it froze and held a high note. Ow.
Great.
I shut the system off, waited for my ears to stop ringing, then turned it back on. Black screen again. Okay, we get it!
So, you know, the sign of a really good author is when they take a joke and they beat it to death, and then they give it another few whacks just to make sure it's really dead.
Apparently.
You know, to make sure their readers, hey guys, I'm making a joke here. Make sure you're aware of it.
Hey, you know NESs are kind of sketchy about how they work. You have to fiddle with them a bit. Hey guys, hey!
Alright.
Did you know? I slammed the side of my fist into the top of the system. Title screen and overture. I was in. So he faunced it. Baka. Sure, why not? The first thing I noticed was that there was already a saved game, and that the name of the saved game was Turn. I was curious about how far the old owners had gotten. Of course you were. So I chose to continue their file. The theme of Tantagel Castle played while my character stood before the king. He said,
You know, there's a lot of music references here, but for somebody who hasn't played the game, you're not going to recognize any of the music.
Right? He should have just included YouTube links or something.
Oh, obviously.
Because that doesn't break up the flow of your story or anything.
Of course not.
He said, I am glad that thou hast returned to us, Turnback. For the next level of experience, thou needs 37 points. This didn't seem quite right. I hadn't played the game in some time, but I was fairly sure that he said more than that, or said it in a different way. Nobody cares!
I care.
Oh.
But I wouldn't know the difference, so, you know, it's a good thing he told me that it was... something was wrong there, because I wouldn't have known.
But what really stood out was the character name. Turnback. As in, turn back? Yes!
That's so subtle, Morn. You know, clearly the author didn't think that the reader would catch that subtle reference.
You know? And he keeps going, too. Was this a message from the previous owner?
Oh my god.
I wanted to shut the game off right then, but something inside of me wouldn't let me stop. Really?
Something inside, like the lack of autonomy and free will because you're the character in a bad horror story?
Maybe Psychomantis is controlling this asshole, too.
Psychomantis is such a jerk.
He's everywhere.
Blame Psychomantis. Hashtag blame Psychomantis. I want to see this trending on Twitter in the next 24 hours, guys. Get to work.
I left the castle, somehow enjoying the clunky interface of the game, and wandered out to see where the owner had left off. 2 steps away from the castle, I got into a random encounter, but it was something I had never seen before. Oh yeah, the
random
true
encounters, the best part of a creepypasta about an RPG.
The true horror, a random encounter, oh my god! A Paradoxical knows what's up again. 10 pages of level grinding against slimes. The true Dragon Warrior experience. A blood slime draws near. Command? This didn't make sense. Well, no shit.
Nothing in this story makes sense.
There were only 3 types of slime in Dragon Warrior. Slime, red slime, and metal slime.
The author has to show off how much they know about Dragon Warrior.
Well, they did already. They know the name of the castle.
And the name of the the menu music.
Yes. Beyond that, this slime didn't look like your standard Akira Toriyama design. Oh, and the artist.
There you go.
It looked like a pool of blood, far too realistic for the simple 8-bit graphics. Of course it did.
You can always tell when you're getting to the good part in a creepypasta, especially video game creepypasta, because of the photorealistic blood.
Right? That was the second time I wanted to turn the system off, but my curiosity got the better of me. I'm pretty sure I've read that exact phrase in several of these stories over time.
It's always their curiosity getting the better of them.
Are they all Alice? Did they fall through the rabbit hole? What the hell is going on?
That's my new headcanon, is the narrator of every creepypasta is Alice.
Curiouser and curiouser. I chose to attack the blood slime. Turn back attacks. Miss! The blood slime takes no damage.
Wow, so dramatic.
I will never forget what happened next. Never forget. The blood slime attacks. Turn back takes 4,935 damage. This mysterious new monster had somehow done more damage than I would ever hope to have in hit points.
You know what I'll never forget? I'll never forget what Psycho Mantis did.
Right?
Blame Psycho Mantis.
Thou art dead. When that message appeared on the screen, I suddenly felt quite ill. Normally, when you die in Dragon Warrior, that message is printed and you return to the castle, down half your money. But this time, the game didn't respond me. Instead, I, as in the actual player, fell over and began foaming at the mouth.
Wow.
My mother must have heard me making some awful gurgling because she called an ambulance almost immediately. So if you
It must have been the dust from the cartridge that got in the narrator's eyes and mouth. Oh wait, wrong creepypasta.
I like that almost immediately. So if you hear gurgling coming from the next room, that's your automatic assumption. Well,
oh, yeah.
My son must have played a haunted video game. And he's
Call an ambulance.
911.
You know, it's not like, oh, my son is choking on his saliva again because he's mentally impaired. Which is about what I expect from creepypasta narrators, because they do stupid things.
While that's true, I suggest everybody send their hate mail to Calf for that one.
Yeah, sorry, that was a little insensitive.
At the hospital, the doctors said they had no idea what was wrong with me, but that they had managed to save my life. But I knew.
Because that's how medical science works. You know, if you can't figure out what's wrong, you can still save somebody's life.
The game had tried to kill me. It was pure evil, wrapped in an unlicensed third-party NES cartridge shell.
Okay, so clearly we've reached the moral of this story. Don't trust unlicensed games.
I love that line. I don't even care. That's a great line. Unironically. Of course, nobody would believe me. They said I must have been imagining it. In about an hour I recovered, so my mother took me home. The game was nowhere to be seen. All that was in my system was a copy of Gauntlet. I looked everywhere, but it had disappeared. Okay.
That's pretty anticlimactic.
It could still be out there somewhere. You know, I'm just imagining this guy at a fire right now, like a campfire with a flashlight up to his face. and they say that this video game haunts this very wood we're in right now.
It could be right behind you. The cartridge is sneaking up right over there.
Oh my god! If you play it, take the save files advice. Just turn back.
And you know, this is one of the good things. Finger quotes good things about creepypasta, especially video game creepypasta, is that video games are not inherently scary.
Right? Oh, there's more. My dad came out of his room where he'd apparently missed the whole thing, with 2 halves of a broken vinyl record in his hand. This album sucks, he said with a frown.
So it was a dig at the Rolling Stones.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
That's unnecessary.
Oh yeah, and apparently the narrator's mother called an ambulance and took her son to the hospital and didn't bother to tell her husband that there's something wrong with their son and they were going to the hospital.
And apparently it took him long enough to listen to the album.
Yeah, for them to get there, get diagnosed. He doesn't have sex with the blood slime, paradoxical. You'll have to write a fan fiction of this.
You'll have to write a fan fiction of blood slime.
Absolutely, I want to see it on my desk.
By noon tomorrow, or else you're fired.
Exactly. Morn knows what's up.
Send your hate mail to my brother.
Many other.
That's inappropriate.
This whole stream is inappropriate.
So, I think that means it's time to move on to the third and final story we have planned for the evening.
Wait a minute. We haven't finished tearing apart blood slime.
Oh, do you have a final thought on blood slime?
Nah, let's just move on.
All right.
It just seems like we were moving on fast, but I didn't actually have anything else to say.
Exactly.
It was kind of bland.
Yeah.
But
he didn't put enough detail into it. I mean,
So, I don't know about actual, word count length, but if you're looking at the text, which I am right now, getting the cartridge to work is about a quarter of the length of the story. That was clearly one of the most important bets. Yeah.
You said it yourself. You got a joke. You just have to knock it into the ground and then beat on it some more, just to be sure. Rule number 2, double tap.
Well, that's what the narrator of the first story did to his family.
Yeah. Oh. Thank you for that, Ham.
Thanks, Ham.
Alright, you ready to move on to the third and final story?
I am ready. I was born ready, Morn.
Alright, we did save the best for last here, I think. This is called Rocket Plague. I wasn't always like this, I used to be normal, healthy, just like you. Everything changed last month. So, right out of the gate, we have the narrator talking to somebody.
To Morn, obviously.
Well, all I can think of is the Cask of Amontillado by Poe, but trying to put this in the same length of, the same kind of wheelhouse as that seems really insulting to Poe. But
I think any of these stories would be insulting to any good horror writer.
Or Lovecraft, for that matter.
Let's not talk about Lovecraft.
I'm a fan, but yeah. But, no, it's just the same thing where the narrator talks to somebody, and it always brings the question in my mind is, who the hell are they talking to? And it kind of
right, who is he talking to? Hopefully we'll find out later.
So, like you, I like video games. So when
what were you saying, Morn?
I don't know, it just got distracted by the talking to whoever. So, when a hot new game hit the market and started picking up huge player counts, I was interested. But of course, like every gamer, I'd been burned by duds before. Hashtag Dudgate.
Hashtag blame Psychomantis.
I wanted to try before buying, and that's where everything started to go wrong. Wait, is this going where I think it's going?
I don't know, Morn. Where do you think it's going?
I think we should find out together.
Well, I've read the story already today. I read all of them earlier. I know where it's going.
Well, I'm just trying to make it more interesting for the folks at home.
I'm at home.
Oh, fair enough. Rocket League looked amazing. Gorgeous graphics.
Rocket League, great. So this is clearly a trying to jump on a bandwagon for a new popular game.
Now this is recent. Gorgeous graphics, exciting flying cars. Is this the guy who did those Gaming in the Clinton Years videos?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
I don't think I've ever seen those.
You need to. He does stuff like that. They're awful. What's not to love? Well, the price, obviously. Oh, God, it is going there. $20 is a lot of money. I spent $20 on gas yesterday to go to the store.
Well, I mean, that's just because... No, gas has gotten cheap lately. What kind
Yeah?
of car do you drive?
The store
A
was far
tank?
away. I didn't say it was a local store, now did I?
Yeah, that's fair enough, you didn't.
Oh. Fortunately, one of my friends was able to fix me up with a bootleg copy. Don't copy that floppy!
So it looks like we're going with another story about not going for third-party games.
He also helped me mod my PS4 to play pirated games. Some technique out of Brazil, if you can believe it. Really? Brazil?
VR, 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 VR.
Greg's a real stand-up guy. Okay.
Hey, we have a second character now.
Awesome. So, last night I finally got settled down on my couch with a trial copy of Rocket League and some free time. He put quotes around that. What a jerk.
Wow, that's pretty pretentious.
Greg warned me that I wouldn't be able to play online with other players. This pirate sucks. Wouldn't be able to play online with other players? Maybe he doesn't want to get VAC. No, that's Steam. But hey, no big deal, right? I would be able to play offline, and if I liked it, I'd buy the full copy. Hey, yeah! Redless is a point!
Redless
Wow.
isn't allowed to have points. We're the ones critiquing this story. Why didn't you notice that, Morn?
I am bad at mocking creepypasta.
Shame on you. It's a good thing you have me here to help.
Yeah, because you totally noticed it and called it out.
Of course, I was waiting to see if you would say it.
The first thing I did when booting up was head into the garage menu for car customization. I'd seen cars with amazing hats and gameplay. Wait, really? Hats?
Hats on cars, man.
So-
That seems reasonable to me.
It's Team Fortress 2?
I guess.
And I wanted to check out the selection. There were no hats available, though. And what was in the other customization options should have been my first clue that something wasn't right. What, like
Alright,
the story?
I'm actually horrified now. No hats available? That's scary.
I agree. Oh, God. Here we go. Now we start getting into the trying too hard part. The only decal available was the skull decal.
Dun dun dun.
The only antenna available was the skull antenna. And the only rocket trail available was water?
What?
Wait,
Water.
Water,
At least it wasn't blood.
right? Alright. So customization was a no... Bullshit! You could put your skulls on there and have water! Customization is fine! But I'd have to redo my car after I bought the game anyway. Well, what if you didn't like it?
You know, I guess he decided he was gonna like it.
I mean, just on ahead.
Well, remember, he's telling us this story from either a month or a day later, depending on which sentence you believe.
Right.
So maybe he knows he already liked it.
However, Psycho Mantis affected the canon.
Blame Psycho Mantis.
I headed into the exhibition menu to set up a game with some bots. 3 versus 3 seemed to be the standard I'd seen online, so that's what I decided to play. Me and 2 bots against 3 bots. Unless the bots were very bad, I'd probably lose, but no big deal, right?
Right.
Then why are you playing? My second sign that something was wrong was the bots. Bots in Rocket League. Oh, okay. So, again, we're getting into that unnecessary detail land.
Foreshadowing. You know, creepypasta authors always have to remind you that you're reading a horror story.
And that they're playing a video game. It's important.
Right. Yeah, well, video game creepypasta anyway, but they always have to remind you that you're reading a horror story. But the best horror stories are the ones where they're not constantly beating your head with it.
Or they, you know, feel the need to tell you, hey, I know this video game. Like here. Bots and Rocket
Well, I mean,
League.
you have to think that most of them are just showing off their knowledge of the game, and that's why they're doing it. They're certainly not showing off their ability to write.
Clearly. Bots in Rocket League have names pulled from a fairly small pool, and relatively friendly. Names like Iceman, Styx, Hound, or Sunset. Iceman, the friendliest of names.
They seem pretty friendly to me.
But these bots were a bit more malicious.
Ah, the ellipses. We haven't seen many of those tonight.
No, we haven't. On the other side of the field were Hangman, Chopper, and Mort. On my side, Judas and Backstab. Subtle!
Wow, so subtle.
Not very
Much foreshadow. Wow.
Oh, and he ruins whatever he did build up here. Not very reassuring, right?
Hey guys, I foreshadowed.
Did you see it? Did you see that?
Right? Did you see it? Did you notice the foreshadowing?
Hey guys, I dropped a clue. It's great.
Don't do this.
No. But as the timer hit 0, they both went after the ball at top speed. Both? Aren't there 5 of them? Oh.
Wow, that's ambiguous.
I drove to my own net and turned around to watch the play and tried to figure things out. Okay, so he watched a bunch of online videos, right? That's established.
Right.
He knows the game well enough to know that he wants to try it, to pirate it, and get someone to hack his PS4 using a Brazilian technique like a bikini wax. And yet he doesn't
the Brazilian PS4 wax.
And yet he doesn't know enough about the game that he's gonna stop and goalie just so he can watch the game. Okay.
Both can mean 5. Thank you, Commander Arnold.
Maybe it meant both teams, I don't know. The bots played against themselves for a few minutes. Well, of course they did!
Well, I mean, if the player wasn't playing, then the bots played against themselves. What else would they do?
Sit back and watch?
Of course, I mean, that seems like reasonable bot behavior to me.
It seemed like their AI didn't encompass much more than blindly chasing the ball. Finally, one of the enemy bots cleared the ball down toward my side of the field, and I rushed out to intercept it. The true horror. Having to play goalie.
It's the worst in any sport, or any sports game.
Where was? Oh yeah. I hit the ball back toward the enemy goal. An impressive feat if I do say so myself. Which I do. Oh! Ah!
Wow. Wow.
Hitting the ball was hard. But as soon as I made Really? Hitting the ball was hard?
Hey, you've never tried it, Morn. Have you ever tried hitting balls?
Oh hey, Simon's riding a tornado. Just wanted to call that real quick. But as soon as I made contact with the ball, Chopper accelerated out of cluster of bots. There's a definite article missing there, and headed straight for me. I was still recovering from my awkward jump to hit the ball, and Chopper ran right into me. My car exploded with a cartoonish boom and a cloud of smoke. No big deal. Demolitions happen.
So I have actually watched some videos of this, and that is what happens when cars collide at max speed.
Don't you actually have Rocket League?
I do have Rocket League, but I never get blown up.
Oh, you're good at the game, okay.
No, I get blown up all the time. People are jerks.
Are they named
Some people
Chopper?
even apologize for it, as though it's not part of the game.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry I hit you in this game about hitting you. Oh my god, you're being fireball trapped.
We're getting a little off topic, actually. A little off topic here.
Sorry.
Don't make me talk about the game, Morn.
But when I respond, things seem different. The trees in the background outside the field had fewer leaves. The colors on the field seemed muted. And the other cars were moving a bit faster. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and just say it, that's a legitimately nice touch. That actually creates a good atmosphere. It's show, don't tell. I mean, he started with things seem different, that sucks, but when he actually got into it, that works. Credit where it's due.
I mean, that's kind of weird things to seem different, but alright.
I mean, it does generate the atmosphere he's trying to make. That's fair.
Alright.
I didn't have much time to notice. Okay, now he's ruined it. Because as soon as I respawned...
Can't have nice things, Martin.
Yeah, apparently not.
You can't have nice things in Creepypasta.
Because you can't... If you don't get a notice, then how do you describe... Ugh. But anyway.
It doesn't actually say ethereal leaves, Radless.
It says fewer leaves. I'm sorry. Did I read that too quickly?
I don't know. It was a nice attempt at catching something, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is why we're the professionals, Radless.
Redless woke me up with his catching something. I'm paying much more attention now.
You are, and you're catching things.
You know what?
Uh-oh.
There.
Okay, backpatting has happened.
Back to the story. I didn't have much time to notice, though, because as soon as I... God damn it, Cat! Because as soon as I respawned, Chopper headed straight for me again. Before I'd even gotten my bearings, my car had exploded again. Cue respawn. Now the field was clearly different. I'm too poor to afford to pay attention. The trees outside were dead, skeletal shapes. Okay, now he's taking it too far.
Oh, you can't have nice things, Morin.
The orange half of the field was more of a dull red, and the blue half was closer to black. The sun seemed to be setting too, and the light levels were dropping. It was hard to be certain, but the ball seemed to be changing too. It didn't seem as smoothly round as it had.
Point of order, the ball in Rocket League is not smoothly round.
Oh. Okay.
Although it functions, the physics engine treats it like a sphere, the model is not a sphere.
Okay. Send your overly detailed mail to Calf.
Hey, this is the only game out of these creepypastas that I've actually played. Give me a little time to actually critique the accuracy there.
Sure, fair enough.
Thanks.
This time, when Chopper rushed me, I jumped out of the way. But as soon as I touched the ground again, Hangman was on my tail. He looked for letters to fill his word, but he couldn't find... Oh, wait, sorry, that's me. The bot AI isn't that good, though. And
that wasn't actually part of the story.
No, that was me.
That was just Morin being silly.
The bot AI isn't that good, though. And I was able to evade it and run after the ball. And run I did. Or drive. Or boost. Or whatever.
Horse stick.
Yeah, you know. At full speed, to get between the ball and my goal. The save icon appeared as soon as the ball was out of the way, but then my car was sent flying toward the enemy goal. I looked back, and Judas had run into me.
What a shock!
What a twist!
I wasn't expecting that!
I released Look Back just in time to see Mort ram into my car, blowing it up for the third time. Look Back, is that like Turn Back?
It might be.
I feel like there's kind of a theme, or at least a connection running through these stories. Just
and you know what the connection is, right? Blame Psycho Mantis.
I was gonna say they all suck?
Well, that's a little obvious. I mean, there's more things that suck. Maybe they're related too.
This time, my car was hit as soon as I spawned, and I was able to appreciate the environment changes from mid-air as I flew helplessly down the field. I'd swear Backstab did a smug little hop in place after ramming me. So it's like a teabag? Is that what he's trying to establish here?
I don't know. I think what he's trying to establish is that the bots are jerks.
Well, consider it established.
There you have it, guys. It's official. Bots are jerks.
The sun had completely set, and the fence posts looked more white than silver in the moonlight, and the bends seem oddly connected. Non-Euclidean?
You know, it doesn't say that.
but just when it feels like some Lovecraft mess again.
It would be nice if they were non-Euclidean. That would be a pleasant twist from the usual creepypasta.
Right? Okay, more concerning was the wall, which I had a perfect view of as it rolled toward my team's goal. I feel like there's a typo in this somewhere, but I'm not sure I can place it.
I wonder. You know, it's almost as if the authors of these things don't proofread them.
You have to wonder. The ball pulsated as it rolled. The protuberances... Did I read that right? Protuberances?
That is what that says.
Yeah. So
with protuberances appearing and vanishing from its surface.
So potatoes.
I don't think that's what protuberances means.
It is now. I felt a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach as the ball began to cross the goal line. I don't know how I knew, but I was certain that something terrible was about to happen.
Dun dun dun!
I hate when authors do that in stories. Just get to the point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always, especially in horror, it's always better to have something terrible happen without warning than it is to build up that something terrible is going to happen.
And it doesn't build it up, it deflates the tension.
Right.
Like, the ball is deflated, apparently.
Deflategate.
Deflategate.
Thank you, Commander Arnold.
I will not be repeating that, but I agree with it.
Keeping the stream family-friendly.
And classy. In Rocket League, when a goal is scored, stuff happens. Oh! Okay. A horn or buzzer blares, or a trumpet plays a fanfare. The crowd cheers, and the ball explodes in a puff of smoke, sending any nearby cars flying. It makes goals very exciting.
To be fair, it does.
Sorry, I had to swallow. I wasn't just pausing for effect there, I just had to swallow.
Well, you didn't need to tell us that. You could have made it a pause for effect.
Well, I'm reading these creepypastas. I like deflating tension. That's how it works. Sorry. I didn't hear a buzzer or a screaming crowd. Instead, there was a shriek of agony that made me drop my controller and clutch my ears, doubling over on the couch, followed by the sound of 1,000 voices laughing evilly. Exactly 1,000. That is a very precise count.
You know, I've heard enough voices laughing evilly in my time that I could count a chorus of them.
I guess?
I have not.
No.
I was lying. I have not heard that many voices laughing evilly.
Oh. I looked up again just in time to see the ball explode. It didn't explode in a puff of smoke. The ball...
Here we go.
Yeah. The ball exploded in a shower of gore, spraying the field and the net with blood, and sending bones flying outwards in all directions. Shao Kahn's voice said, "Fatality!" No, wait, that's me again, sorry.
Wrong game.
This wasn't right.
This wasn't right.
Yeah!
You don't say!
Really? Are you
this
sure?
wasn't right.
Are you sure about that? I mean, it sounds kind of right to me, but, you know, I never played Rocket League.
That's
so
about what I
know.
expect from my video games. You know, sudden gore.
And suddenly, gore. It's the 2000 elections all over again. Political humor.
Whoa, Morn. We're trying to keep this stream family-friendly.
Oh, like the chat is?
Thank you, Paradoxical. Well-timed.
I didn't want to play anymore, but as I reached for the power button on the console, the replay ended and the next kickoff started. Only, instead of the normal numbers of the countdown, there were words. Play!
More ellipses!
For your life! I scrambled back onto my chair? Couch!
Chair. Couch.
And,
You know, he's got a well-furnished living room, I guess.
and fumbled with my controller. There was less than a minute remaining, and I needed to at least tie the score. You know, for his life.
Yeah. You know, we've already seen that a video game tried to kill somebody and made him foam at the mouth, so this guy's legitimately concerned. Maybe he'd read that other story before, and he knew that games could be evil.
Maybe. The bots on my team are openly working against me now. They skipped the kickoff and were working with the other team to keep me away from the ball and get the ball into my net. But
that was a terrible sentence.
that's a long one.
Skip the kickoff, and we're working with the other team, blah blah blah, to
And-
keep me away from the ball and get the ball into my net. That's just bad. Who writes this crap?
I don't know. It's
And
anonymous.
why don't they read it to themselves before publishing it?
But despite that, I managed to block the ball rolling toward my net.
There you go, Paradoxical.
Sorry, I had to check the chat there. As I made contact with the car, or as it made contact with my car, I noticed that the ball had changed again. It had a new
Hey,
text.
you didn't pause for the ellipses. Come on, we haven't had any ellipses tonight except this story.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read that sentence again.
Thank you.
As it made contact with my car, I noticed that the ball had changed. Again.
There you go.
It had a new texture on the model. One that seemed familiar. Familiar? The ball settled to a stop next to my car, and I felt a chill go down my spine. The ball's model was my own head!
Oh gosh!
My distraction cost me. The bot scored again. That's what's important here.
Yeah, he's playing for his life, Morn.
Oh, right. Down by 2 goals and playing against 5 bots, I slumped in despair. There was no way I could win this game. It was impossible. Futilely, I tried to quit through the menu, but the option wasn't even there.
Hey, at least he tried.
He did try.
He did try.
Usually they just curiosity their way to death. They don't usually go,
Right.
I'm out. So, this
guy's trying to nope out.
Yeah. I racked my brain for an alternative. I want to call out what my brother said here. Let's go back to that real quick. That's a good point. I can see how your own head would seem familiar.
You do look at your head from all angles regularly, don't you? Everybody does that, right? I know I do.
You know, I have a mirror room. Just for that purpose, to make sure I don't have bald spots. It's perfect. As the last seconds ticked off the clock, I knew what I had to
Redless,
do.
the game doesn't pause when you go into the menu.
Okay. I hit Alt F4 on my keyboard. Wait, keyboard?
Keyboard, but
Maybe he's plugged it into a
But-
USB port on the PS4. Do they
Alright.
have those?
I think they do.
I know the PS3
And the game does have text chat.
If
So I
Faint
mean, I
Hope-
could see it if you play like I know there's MMOs on the PS4 too.
Yeah, I know the PS2 and
Phantasy
PS3
Star.
had access to keyboards, so maybe. I hit Alt F4 on my keyboard, a Faint Hope, and a Vain One. But what? Wait, the shortcut
Alt
wouldn't work.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Alt F4 is a Windows shortcut.
Oh, it gets worse. Even as I did that, I was hitting the power button on my computer. Why? What's that gonna do? That's not gonna
Well,
help you here.
He needs to turn his computer on.
Apparently.
You know, so he can Google for a solution.
I guess. Nothing. Desperately, as the clock hit 0 with the ball in the air, I dove underneath...
And the number 0, mind you, not the word.
Right.
That's a style error.
Yeah. I dove underneath my desk and unplugged it.
Desk.
Unplugged his desk.
He unplugged his desk, but why is he at a desk?
I don't know, but instantly the computer shut down. Wait, computer? But PS4 and couch and chair.
You know, consistency isn't that important in Creepypasta more, and you have to focus on the really important stuff.
Paradoxical One says, PS4 peripherals, more engrossing than this stort.
Hey, this stort is not very engrossing at all.
No, it isn't. With a sigh of relief, I climbed back out from under my desk, which I just unplugged, to remind you.
Right. And shout out to Redless here for calling where this was going. So Redless is at least genre savvy.
Right? My monitor glowed with a familiar blue glow. Blue screen of death, I wonder? Okay, so I guess he's changed it to computer now and forgot. Let's just go with that.
Sure.
Blue screen of death, I wondered, then froze. My computer was unplugged. The monitor should have just had a no signal error. I looked closer. The text wasn't a normal BSOD error. It read, "You have been infected by the rocket plague. Forward this email to at least 10 people in the next 24 hours or you will die a horrible death." I'm speechless.
And that's the end of the story, guys.
That's a mess.
That is a mess.
So, should we tell them?
I don't know. Should we tell them?
I think we should tell them.
I don't know if I want to tell them. I mean, did you see what was it Commander Arnold said earlier? Yeah, it was. Did you see what Commander Arnold said earlier about anybody who takes the time to write a creepypasta?
No? Oh, lacks the ability to write. I still think we should tell them.
Yeah, Commander Arnold, chain letter, seriously. I mean, that's the scariest thing, right?
You know what, I'm gonna at least confess my part. I wrote Blood
Alright,
Slime.
let's tell them. Morn wrote Blood Slime, I wrote Rocket Plague. We decided to write our own stories to make fun of for this stream.
Yep. While True Power really did come from the Creepypasta wiki, Blood Slime was mine. I actually wrote it for a thread on the Fantasy Strike forums, and Calf decided just to write one spontaneously for the stream.
So we decided to, both of us, when we set out to write these, set out to write the worst creepypastas we possibly could.
And ironically, True Power was probably worse than either of them.
Yeah, we both lost to True Power, which is depressing.
Especially given how much effort you put in to throw in deliberate plot holes.
I know, and typos. I actually went back and added typos.
That's probably why I missed them, because I had read it when you first finished it.
Yeah, probably.
But no, for a terrible story, there is actually a lot I like in this one. Just knowing that it's on purpose, like the whole it's suddenly computer I thought was funny. Where was the line?
Redless missed True Power. Hang on a sec, Redless. I'll put a link in the text chat.
Go
so
ahead.
You
I
can
don't
read
have
it.
any filtering of links, so it's fine. I really did like how the background changed in the story. I thought that was actually kind of cool. I really did.
I was actually a little disappointed with that afterwards because it worked too well.
Yeah.
And Redless, this stream will be saved, and Morn is probably going to put it on YouTube, so you can go and check out our reading and critique of True Power and discover the origin of why we blame Psycho Mantis for everything.
Yeah. As soon as we're done here, I'm actually going to go ahead and keep talking. How far are we into the stream? I believe we're in the 5th mansion, so yeah, we're not too far from the end of the game.
Yep, no, we should have another like 5 to 10 minutes.
So
you're welcome, Redless.
So yeah. You want to talk about what it was like writing that nonsense? Like, I liked the obviousness of the stupid bot names. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, so what I did when I sat down to start writing this was I actually wrote a list of bad creepypasta tropes.
There was something we both
that
missed.
I decided I needed to include. Was there? What was it?
Backwards music.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
And
I'm so disappointed.
You'd think I'd have hit it.
You mentioned music a couple of times. You could have hit it.
Yeah.
I really liked in Blood Slime the specific amount of damage the slime dealt.
The number.
Yeah. That was an important detail.
I just pulled a number. And again, the whole point for that one was I was doing a thread on suggestions for how not to do bad writing. And so the whole thing was just don't write creepypasta.
Yup. And you wrote an entire creepypasta in order to make that point.
I thought it worked.
It did work.
Like, and the problem is I think I was too funny.
Yeah, you went in a little too much for the obvious humor.
The overdone
which worked in its
joke,
own way.
The overdone, beat the hell out of the system to make it work joke.
I'll be honest though, that made me laugh out loud when I first read it.
The the rummage sale lady, you know, not even owning the game but charging for it anyway. That's hilarious. I don't care.
The dad Rolling Stones framing device.
I actually took the time to Google worst Rolling Stone albums to make that joke.
And then nobody knew the Rolling Stones albums because nobody knows the Rolling Stones anymore.
Right. I mean, I think they're known to some degree, but nobody pays that much attention. That
right, nobody cares.
Was, you know, a joke for me, myself, and nobody else. But I wanted.
But on the other hand, it's also that kind of thing is the hallmark of creepypasta is unnecessary detail and accuracy on irrelevant things, and then missing the detail on things that actually matter.
Right, like they spend hours describing the video game details or whatever else, and then when it comes time for the horror, it's really terse and brown prosy or beige prosy.
Yeah, or you know, just completely omitted.
Right. And they always have that stupid hook sentence. I'll never be the same again after that day.
Yeah. Yeah. Something terrible happened. No, if you want to start a creepypasta. Well, I mean, I guess it's because they think they have to prove they're writing a creepypasta. That's the only explanation I can think of.
I've thought about this because I thought about actually writing a horror story for legitimate. And you can do a hook like that, the idea of somebody telling the story after the fact, but it needs to be more focused in on what you're trying to say. You can say something like, you know, I'm writing this from a mental hospital or something like that.
Right. You need to indicate what actually happened instead of some vague foreboding.
Right.
But, you know, creepypasta authors love their vague foreboding. Because real foreshadowing is hard.
It is. It's too hard. Why would you even try to do real foreshadowing? I'm trying to refill my health.
Wow, that was a bit of a non sequitur.
Sorry, I was just paying attention to the actual video game for a second. I'm looking at the, like, are there any really short ones that I could read just to fill the gap?
I don't know. But not only that, we have to find a bad short creepypasta. So I could just start clicking the random pasta button and see what comes up.
You could, but there's no point. I mean, this will be over very soon. This is the last. I think this is like the last town before you go to Dracula's castle. Yeah, I guess we switched into Let's Play mode. So I suppose I should switch. Do you want to watch what I'm doing in the game?
You know, I don't know anything about the game. I've seen, every time I look over, he's in this kind of same town area whipping zombies.
It's because that's how it happens at night.
Right, and then the morning sun has vanquished the horrible night. And that's over and over again. Occasionally I've caught this is a terrible night to have a curse dialogue.
Yeah, okay, so we're near the end. I'm trying to remember, what am I doing here?
Just remember that I don't have screen share, so you're 30 seconds ahead of me.
Oh, well...
Don't worry about it. I just won't comment on the game. I'll continue talking about creepypasta, you talk about the game, we'll confuse everyone.
Hey, look at that.
How about them video games? I don't know. How about them video games, Paradoxical?
So, this game kind of got some notoriety a few years ago when the Angry Video Game Nerd featured it as his very first video when he was just doing them as a joke. And even then, he was going, you know, this game isn't that bad, but he just wanted to pick a game to make fun of, and this was it.
You know, there is a lot to make fun of in this game.
There is. And it's not
just
great.
From what I've seen watching it.
And it's not great. It's better than people give it credit for, though.
It looks pretty repetitive and grindy in points, though.
Well, it was an early RPG thing. It was actually the first Metroidvania-type game. Because you have some backtracking, you have characters that improve over time, item collection, all that. And this is actually the last town.
Hey, at least the music's not backwards, Redless.
That's true. Yeah, Castlevania 2 soundtrack is extremely good. It's very short. A lot of the music is very loopy, to use that word. It loops very quickly. But at the same time, it's such high quality that it's okay that it's very short.
Yeah, especially if it loops smoothly. Also, I want to give a shout out to Reaver B, who stopped in from the Plug on the Fantasy Strike forums and hasn't said a word in chat.
Okay, hey.
But I just spotted him in the viewer list.
I think he just popped in a minute ago, so he missed all the creepy stories, unfortunately. So I'll make sure to post a link to this when I put it on YouTube. And here's me forgetting how to get into Dracula's castle.
That sounds pretty exciting. I have noticed a lot of ridiculously well-concealed secret areas.
You'll have that in this game, and the problem is I don't even cover most of them, because most of them are just little books that supposedly give you hints, but they don't.
And hey, even getting to the final boss is the same thing as a secret area, but does the game ever actually teach you that that item can destroy some walls?
You end up having to figure it out at one point or another. Oh yeah, to get in towns and buildings, you actually have to use it to find shopkeepers.
I did see that, but does the game ever teach you that you can do that?
It's an NES game, making you learn things for yourself.
Right. Yeah, so in other words, no.
No. And like, this is a really short theme, and it's kind of awkward, but it's great. I know you can't hear it, Calf, I'm sorry.
I know. I'll have to go look up all the music for this game some other time.
It's worth it. So here's me trying to go up the stairs and failing. It's nice to be able to just talk over this post-com.
Yeah, much more relaxing, I'm sure.
Although, I will say,
wow, stairs are hard.
They are.
Warned you about stairs, bro.
I will say, spoiler alert, this is a very anticlimactic final boss. It's notoriously so. So let's throw 5 bags of money, or whatever they are, they're parts of Dracula, in an altar and sacrifice them to Psycho Mantis.
Praise Psycho Mantis.
So this is how you fight Dracula. He sits...
First you revive him.
Then you beat the hell out of him.
But
But
why?
He does not move right away. Okay. So you have all this time to get free hits in, and you can just spam flame at him.
Good grief.
And then because he freezes in place when hit with the flame, you can just spam him out very easily, very quickly.
My goodness.
And interesting side note about Simon's Quest, they translated all the endings and then put them over the wrong ending. So this is not actually the good ending text.
Wow.
This is actually the good ending screen, but the text is wrong.
That quality control, though.
Right? Oh, and this one doesn't have, this game doesn't even have credits like that, so you can't see who worked the QA.
Well, apparently nobody.
Apparently.
Apparently this was almost as thoroughly quality controlled as a creepypasta.
Right? Alright. My brother said the line, so I have to do the line in Dracula voice from A Day in Dracula's Life. Oh boy, pot roast! That so happens to be the feast I have most delight in feasting upon.
Well, that was something. Thank you for that, Morn.
If you've never seen it, you should see it. It's funny.
I've never seen it.
People in the chat who know it will appreciate.
There are literally 5 of us!
Yeah? You guys are awesome. Thanks for stopping in and watching and listening to Calf and me make fun of stories. I do appreciate it quite a bit.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who came by. Thank you for being here. We were mostly just goofing around and doing this ourselves, but we enjoyed your company as well.
Always. Always nice to have people. And that's it. Movie finished playing, so I'm going to go see who's doing a Halloween stream, if anybody of the people I follow are. And I'll send you guys there to watch some more horror. If not, I will see you soon, I hope. I have to go do some work and make a long full stream highlight. And dogs get around.
So tell me, Morn, why do you revive Dracula at the end there?
Oh, the backstory is that after the first time Simon Belmont killed Dracula, he kind of... Oh, nobody's alive, so that's fine. he kind of was hit with a death curse. And the only way to break the death curse, which was affecting not only Simon but the whole land of Transylvania, was to find his pieces of Dracula and revive Dracula so he could kill him to break the curse. That's the story.
That makes loads of sense.
It's creepypasta level plotting.
You know, a lot of these old games just have excuse plots, though.
Well, there's your prologue, so if it would last long enough for you to actually read it. The Hell House. I can't believe that made it past NES censors. All right, folks.
Oh no, they said a bad word.
Nintendo seal of quality. So, I've said it a few times, and I'll say it one more time. Thank you so much for stopping in. I will be back tomorrow for more Final Fantasy IV with Nathan, and other than that, just general stuff. So, thank you very much for watching, and have a great Halloween, everyone.